Hello everyone, my name is Gustin and I'm an English teacher from SMA Paulus Pontianak. And in IPCB program, I teach English for academic purposes and also marketing. On this video, I would like to share to you about two things. First, I want to talk to you about my experience joining the teacher training provided by CCP several months ago. And then the second thing is that I want to talk about how I have been using the knowledge I got from the training to teach my students at school. So I want to talk about my experience joining the teachers training first. So my experience have been the experience joining the teachers training was really great. I got to learn a lot of new teaching methods, especially because at that time during the pandemic I actually did not understand how to conduct interesting classes online, but then through that training I could actually understand a lot of things, and I learned a lot of new activities and new methods that I can apply now for my classes. And then the materials provided during the training are still very beneficial and very helpful for me to keep providing the best teaching that I can for my students. And during the training also, I still remember that my instructor at that time, I think Daniel, was very patient to help us learn the techniques and maybe also the materials that the participants at that time had not understood. So I think I am very grateful to have joined that teacher training. My experience so far using what I have learned from the training and apply it at school, the experience, it's not always perfect, of course, because some of the techniques that I learned are still quite new. So I'm still learning how to actually execute it in the classroom. But then many times I believe that it has helped me to improve the quality of my teaching. And as a teacher, of course, I'm trying to make the class as interesting as possible, but I don't think that's the case on every single meeting. Sometimes it's just hard to get students to communicate online sometimes, so you have to do extra things like giving them points or making the topic very entertaining so that the students are interested to engage in the lesson, especially when it's online. I think it's very difficult sometimes because sometimes you cannot really see what's going on there or how they are feeling that day. So it sometimes on some days the class can be very fun, it can be very lively, and the students can be very interactive. But then on the other days, many of them are just probably too tired, and then like every time you ask them questions or you try to get them to do some activities, they just shut off their mics. And I think that won't be the case on offline classes, but then in online classes some cases like that can happen. But then yeah, so far the experience for me teaching this program is that it reveals a lot about my teaching ability. It reveals a lot about what I still cannot do, and I really think that having the knowledge from the training can help me constantly to actually improve my teaching on every single meeting. But then overall, I think the techniques that I learned, of course, have also helped me to some very interesting classes actually. Like for example, at that time we were having a speaking class, and then I asked them questions about themselves too, and if they do that, I will reward them in a point system. And at that time, because the point system was still very new, so I actually divided them into Hogwarts houses. I grouped them into Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, and then everyone was just competing to speak because they could get points. That method, it was interesting for quite some time, but then after several meetings, they kind of know it already and they're not very excited about it. So as a teacher, I think I have to constantly think about ways to make the class interesting, and especially I think the most important thing, have to keep using the techniques that I have learned, so that the students can feel constantly maybe or consistently more interested in my lessons. But I think overall the knowledge that I got from training gives me more confidence in dealing with difficult situations when teaching online on these subjects. I think that's all. Thank you.